So you've learned the basics of Python. You know your loops, you know your functions, but then you just stare at a blank screen and think, okay, now what do I actually build? Trust me, you are not alone. Today, we're going to dive into how a massive collection of over 100 projects can be the exact thing you need to go from just being a learner to being a real builder. And yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about more than 100 different projects. That number is a really big deal because it means you don't have to build something you find boring. You can literally scroll through and find a project that solves a problem you actually have or find interesting. That's the key. All right, so here's the big secret. The fastest way to get good at a language like Python, it's not reading another textbook. Nope. It's about getting your hands dirty. It's about building small, tangible things that actually, do something. I want you to think of every single project as a little bridge. See, on one side of the river, you've got all the theory, the loops and functions you learned about. And way over on the other side is a real-world problem you want to solve. These projects, they force you to build that bridge. And that's the moment where all that abstract stuff finally clicks and becomes a real skill. Okay, first up, let's talk about something we can all relate to: automating our digital lives. Just think about all those mindless, repetitive tasks you do on your computer every day. Organizing files, copying data. We can literally teach Python to do all that boring stuff for us. Come on, we've all been there. You look at your downloads folder and it is pure chaos. It's a total mess of PDFs, images, zip files, everything. Well, this project is like a magic wand. You write a little bit of Python and it instantly tidies up the entire thing. And the best part is the logic behind it is so simple. You're not writing some crazy complex program. The script just does 3 basic things. First, it looks inside a folder, like downloads. Second, for every file, it just checks the extension, the .pdf or .jpg. And finally, it moves that file into a folder that matches. That's it. Chaos becomes organized, just like that. Or how about another classic headache? Spreadsheets. The old way is just hours of mind-numbing copy-pasting, just waiting for you to make one little mistake that messes everything up. But the Python way? You use a library called OpenPyXL, which is built to talk to Excel, and it does the whole job in seconds. Lightning fast and perfectly accurate every single time. And it goes way beyond just files. Imagine writing a script that automatically sends out a weekly report email with the right attachment every Friday at 5 p.m. Or one that takes a dozen different PDF files and merges them into a single clean document. Need to resize 50 photos for your website? Yep, you can build a tool for that too. So, automating stuff on your own computer is pretty awesome. But this is where things get really interesting. What if your Python scripts could actually talk to the web, pull down live data, and interact with anything online? Now we're connecting to the web. We're about to see how Python can grab data from websites, from live feeds, and from APIs, bringing the power of the whole internet right into your code. The main technique for this is something called web scraping. Now, that might sound super technical, but just think of it like this. You're sending a little robot assistant to a website with a very specific shopping list. You tell it, hey, go to this website, ignore all the ads and menus, and just bring me back the product prices, or the job listings, or the latest news headline. And the coolest part? You don't have to build this robot from scratch. It's all powered by this amazing 1-2 punch of Python libraries. First, you use a library called requests. Think of it like a delivery driver that goes to the website and just drops off a giant box of code at your door. Then you use another library, Beautiful Soup, to open that box, sift through all the messy packaging, and pull out the exact treasure you were looking for. Once you have this skill, your apps can really come alive. You're not just using old, static data anymore. You could build a weather app that gives you the current forecast by talking to a live weather service, or a stock tracker that always has the latest up-to-the-minute prices. Your code is now plugged into the real world in real time. Okay, so you've automated your computer, you've connected your scripts to the web. What's next? Well, the final step on this journey is to wrap all that cool logic up into a real, standalone application that you or anyone else can actually use. Let's look at a perfect example, a QR code generator.
We scan these things every single day, right? But have you ever stopped to think about how you'd actually make one? Turns out, with the right tool in Python, it's unbelievably simple.
The secret ingredient here is a library called, you guessed it, QR code. And this is a perfect example of what programmers call standing on the shoulders of giants. You don't need to know the super complex math that makes a QR code work. The library takes care of all of it. All you have to do is tell it what you want the QR code to say.
And when I say the library handles the hard parts, I really mean it. Just look at this. This is literally the code that does all the work. One line of code to generate the QR code image, and one line of code to save it as a file on your computer. 2 lines. That is it. That's the power of using the right tool for the job.
And once you realize it's that easy, the possibilities just explode. You could build a to-do list app with actual clickable buttons using a built-in library called Tkinter. Or you could get ambitious and build a simple blog that actually runs on the web using a framework called Flask. Every one of these is a real, useful app that you can build yourself. So there you have it. We've gone all the way from writing a simple script to clean up a folder to building powerful applications. We've seen how you can take that basic Python knowledge and, just one project at a time, build a seriously impressive set of skills.
Let's just quickly recap that journey. It starts small, right? On your own computer, solving your own little annoyances with file organizers and spreadsheet scripts. Then you start looking outward, connecting to the web to build things like weather apps. And finally, it all comes together when you start building complete applications that you can actually share with other people. And all of that brings us to the final and honestly the most important question. This whole thing isn't just about learning syntax. It's about becoming a problem solver. So with more than 100 project ideas just waiting for you, the only question left is, what problem will you solve first?